where he wants to go, and obviously for how many years and dollars get attached to his contract. Now, I actually just spoke to Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. She was reporting that San Francisco would want Amari Cooper in return. I've heard maybe Elijah Moore, his name.
Instead of Amari Cooper?
Instead of Amari.
Goodbye.
Here's the thing with Cooper that people need to understand. If they trade him, by guaranteeing the $20 million in his contract this year, his salary cap hit just ballooned. So if they trade him, you're talking north of like $25 million in a cap hit. Okay. Which would then probably trigger a restructure of Deshaun Watson's contract to then maintain that salary cap flexibility that they currently have, right? Going to next year, which, by the way, I don't think the Browns want to do. I think they want to leave Deshaun's contract alone this year, take that $65 million cap hit.
Get it over with.
So then they can reassess things next year and whatnot, right? Because this will be the year it determines what, at least from my standpoint, are you interested in extending him? Because then if he plays well this year, then the extension comes, and then dealing with his salary cap figures in the future, it's a lot easier and more simple to do. So those are things that all kind of play. It's easy to sit here and say, hey, I had a buddy of mine text me today, and I don't know where this stuff gets started. The internet sometimes is an interesting place.
Sure.
Say.
Okay.
He's like, hey, are they trading Deshaun Watson to the New York Giants? I go,
I heard Cowboys. I heard Cowboys for Dak Prescott today.
And like, the Browns are going to take a $200 million salary cap hit to do that?
Right. It makes no sense.
No. I don't know where this stuff goes. So, but those are some intricacies that come into a potential trade like this. So, but we'll see. Kevin Stefanski going to talk within the hour here. I expect him to say absolutely nothing. We heard from Chad O'Shea earlier today, came up and said nothing. Cedric Tillman said nothing, right? So all we can do is ask the questions, not expecting a lot in the way of response. We'll see what happens.
Daryl, is the reason that nothing's been done or that stories like this arise, and you mentioned the Deshaun Watson restructuring of the contract, I've been thinking that they were going to do this for like the last year and a half. They haven't done it. So
they did it last year.
Yeah,
they restructured that ace in their pocket, though, to restructure it again so they can make moves like this?
Yeah, I mean, but it's what I like to call the nuclear option, right? They don't want to have to do it this year if they can get away with not doing it. Because, again, they want to absorb. They're prepared to absorb that hit. It's not that big of a deal. But if they need to create some additional flexibility, then, they do have that in the back pocket. However, that does potentially create some problems down the road.
It's kicking the can down the road where you're gonna pay it down the road, which could hurt you salary cap wise on other players that you might have to pay or that you would want.
Any player's name that arises, you're going to talk about Deshaun Watson's contract, though, right?
Well, and here's the thing. I want to mention this about Aiyuk too. I don't think this is coming from Aiyuk's camp. I think this is coming from the 49ers. Okay? Here's why. They're trying to facilitate a trade. They're trying to get this thing done. They're trying to get Aiyuk options to negotiate for his people to negotiate with and get something done. So I don't think that this is coming from the player or the agent. I think this is coming from the 49ers. They're trying to get this thing wrapped up as quickly as possible.
If they want a veteran receiver, what else do you think the 49ers are asking for? Because obviously
Picks.
we don't have – what do we have?
Picks.
Would the Browns give up a first-round pick next year when they haven't had one for the last three?
I don't care.
You don't?
Rams won a Super Bowl without making a first-round pick for a decade.
A decade? 10 years?
Something like that.
So you're saying
it was breaking news last year that the Rams actually made a draft pick.
Okay, so you're saying
they paying for that now, though?
Yeah, they're paying for it now, but who
they
cares?
Won.
They
won
got
the
a Vince Lombardi trophy in the case.
I mean, Michigan cheated and they won a national championship.
It's Cavaliers all over again. I mean, I get it. I mean, we've never been there.
It's not the Cavs all over again. They went back to the NBA Finals 2 years after winning it.
Yeah, it's I understand your point about the draft pick, and I guess my question
Kenny,
is
bleep those picks. We don't care about picks. Try to win games.
All right, and it's
I
not
agree
like
with that.
it's not like he's done well with the picks that he's had as far as
Remember,
Pro
Joe.
Bowl caliber players, right? So
Maybe JOK.
right, he's the best one.
Right.
He's Emerson, JOK are probably his two best picks.
None of his receivers have worked out.
Terrible, awful, you know. So
maybe said there's something there, but you know what? Guess what? What we're hearing about said now is the same thing we heard about Anthony Schwartz, who isn't here. It's the same thing we've heard about Donovan Peoples-Jones, who isn't here. Right?
Absolutely.
It's make or break for Michael Woods. It's make or break for David Bell. You see what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, the draft picks are potential. Like, fans get so wrapped up in draft picks.
Right.
When you're in a window where the Browns are at right now, right? You're in this window of contention. You know this being a Steeler fan, right? When you're in a window of contention, draft picks don't matter.
You're trying to win now.
You're trying to get it done now, or you're trying to get it done within the next 2 years. Now, where that ultimately ends up biting you in the backside is 3, 4, 5 years down the road when your roster gets older and it's time to churn things over. Now all of a sudden you don't have that homegrown talent, if you will.
And if you didn't win the Super Bowl, then it hurts even more.
You look at a team that's not paying a lot for their starting quarterback like the 49ers. They've got money to spend elsewhere, and eventually they're going to have to pay up for that quarterback to be their all-pro or Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and that's where they're going to be in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Daryl. If you can go out and get a player, make your team better in this roster right now with proven talent, so be it.
Yeah,
get it done.
I honestly don't care about draft picks. I really don't.
So Elijah Moore in a first-round pick, is that enough to get it done?
I honestly, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
because I'd be okay with that as long as Cooper stays for at least 1 year and you go all in this year.
But here's the thing you have to think about too, right? If they were going to extend Amari Cooper, I think it would have been done already, right? Because they did the restructure. They guaranteed the $20 million for this year, right? So there's that, and Cooper's 30 years old. So Aiyuk's 26. He'd be going into contract number 2, right? I think he's making 14 and change this year, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
So he's in that wheelhouse of he's like when you talk about like checking the boxes, like Amari coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, right? He checks all. He's one of the better blockers. Amari's a great blocker downfield too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying like. He is the perfect type of Andrew Berry player. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's you have
Brandon Aiyuk to you, is he a number 1 wideout?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he wants to be, but
Yeah.
with Deebo Samuel out there in San Francisco and everything else, I mean, he comes in.
But look at how this offense is constructed right now, right? You got Cooper, you've got Elijah Moore, you've got Jerry Jeudy, you've got David Njoku, right? I'm 4 deep already, right? I haven't even gotten to Cedric Tillman.
Right.
I haven't gotten to the Michael Woods and the David Bells of the world and things like that. And I don't know what to expect from those. I haven't gotten to the running back, Jerome Ford, right? Nick Chubb comes back. Hopefully he's Naheem Hines. So, like, there's so many options. Then the question becomes, okay, do you need a 1,500-yard number 1 wide receiver? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
but what I need is a guy that stretches the field, average 18
100%.
yards a catch.
100%.
That's the most attractive thing to me about Aiyuk is career average over 14 yards a catch, 18 yards per catch last year, and they don't have that on this roster.
100%.
So if you're going to swap Aiyuk for Amari Cooper, you're getting a deep threat at a younger age who may cost you more, but would you rather pay him or Amari Cooper? You'd rather pay the younger guy, right?
Right, and also, too, he becomes now under your control throughout the duration of this contention window.
All right.
See, that's the lens with which you need to look through. And, Kenny, you've been around a long time, and you know this, but, like, that's the lens you have to look through. You're not just looking through today. You're looking at the big picture. You're in a 4, 5, maybe 6-year window here.
Right.
Where you feel like you got a shot, right? All your core pieces, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Wyatt Teller, David Njoku, all those guys are under contract and control for the next couple of years, right?
Yep.
And so if you're going to give up, let's just say for the sake of discussion, it's a first or a second round pick, right? If you're going to give that up, you want to have them under control. Why do you think the first thing they did after they got Jerry Jeudy was they signed him to that 3-year, $56 million contract extension?
Okay.
Now, they view him clearly as a core piece to their window of contention.
Last question I'll ask about Brandon Aiyuk. We got to move on to the stadium
we're cutting
issue. What skill set does he possess? Is this like a Tyreek Hill? Is it Amon-Ra St. Brown? Is he similar to Amari Cooper?
He's a hybrid, and what's good is he does it all. Like
Okay.
he is a complete receiver. Like Kenny was alluding to earlier, not only does he catch the ball down the field and give you those explosive plays, but he does the little things,
Okay.
just like Amari Cooper does. But he's younger. He's 4 years younger,
Okay.
right? So that's why he becomes so attractive.
All right, Daryl, I printed your story out because I'm old-fashioned. I like to hold things and read them. A headline, Browns poised to move forward with $3.6 billion Brook Park Dome and development. Daryl Ruiter, 92.3 The Fan. What's the latest, Daryl, for everybody out there that wants the Cliff Notes version so they don't have this to read in my office when I want to? What can you tell them?
Yeah, but I want people to click on it and read it for themselves.
Okay,
That's the business value.
Don't give them the ending of it. Then they can go
No
read it there.
spoiler alert.
All roads lead to Brook Park.
Okay.
That's where this is headed. Last week, while we were at the Greenbrier, the mayor of Cleveland put forth his what I'm calling the final offer.
Okay.
It was funny. Someone said to me while I was down, "Oh, that was so we finally got the Browns finally got a first offer from the city of Cleveland." I go, "Yeah, that's cute. You think that was the first offer?" But no, it was in my view. I think it's the final offer. Some of the numbers that the city put out there just don't really add up to me financially as well. The parking situation is a little bit, the Browns want that as a revenue stream and sweetener for attracting events. They don't want that to be financing the actual construction itself. So, yeah, I mean, the Cliff Notes version is the momentum is steamrolling toward a final decision being Brook Park.
Do we know the area in Brook Park?
Yeah, it's right across the street from the airport, Angle Road and Snow Road.
The old Ford plant, that
it's
area?
gone. Yeah.
So that's the area as I drove by it for the National Sports Collectors Convention, right?
Yep. So
Okay.
the Ford plant that old Ford plant has been demolished.
Right.
There are 2 interstate highways there. There are 2 state routes there. 291, which is Engle Road, I think is the shortest state route in the state because that was put in for the Ford plant years and years and years ago. And then 237, which, by the way, is getting rebuilt for the airport. So my understanding is the Browns, if they do move forward with Brook Park, they want to coordinate with the Port of Cleveland and the airport to tie everything together.
Okay.
Because part of this, it's not only in that $3.6 billion, 1.4 of that is privately financed development, which includes hotels to service Hopkins Airport, which at last check, there are exactly 0 airports that service Cleveland Hopkins International Airport right now. There's no airports there. Or there's no hotels there,
Yeah.
right? So that fills a need. In fact, right across the street here, where they in Berea, as part of their $200 million investment here in Berea, they want to build a hotel along with the dorms for Ball and Walls. But in all, the Haslams are willing to invest $2.8 billion in capital between $200 million here, the $3.6 billion price tag to do Brook Park. 2.6 of that's coming from them. That's significant.
That is. So you're looking at $1 billion is what you need elsewhere?
It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio and they're looking to bond the tax revenue that would be generated by that complex. So they're not asking for a tax to go on the ballot or something like that. Their admissions tax, the parking, sales tax,
sin tax like it
employment.
was, right?
Well, there'll be some sin tax
Oh,
involved in there,
Right.
But that'll probably have to do with like the county portion support and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, all roads, just the momentum right now points to them pursuing that. But that says a lot. Like the fact that I would say Dan Gilbert, I don't know what the Bedrock Riverfront in downtown Cleveland's going to cost and what his actual investment's going to be in that. I can't remember the last time someone offered to invest $2.8 billion of their own capital in the area. I realize there's 1.2 that's coming from, that. And then the other thing, the other nugget I found out, the infrastructure around it, right? I was told the estimates to do that significantly less than they originally projected to make it work.
Wow.
And I'll tell you this, that Brook Park site will be 1,000 times more accessible than the lakefront ever will be. Even with them putting in a $250+ million land bridge, they're even with them turning Route 2 into a bullet, all that kind of it's the right move in my view, and I think that's the decision the Browns will
What
make.
about the economic impact? You told us that the city of Cleveland per se downtown needed. How would that affect downtown?
It's 10 dates. Now, if the Guardians or Cavaliers left downtown Cleveland, that would be devastating.
Okay.
And it goes back to when Modell, right? That's why he was last on the list, because it was 8 dates. That's it. 81 total games, 41 or 82 total games, 41 at home for the Cavs. 162 total games, 81 for the Guardians. Browns, when you played 14 games, it was 7 days.
And you forgot the hockey team, the Lumberjacks at the time. Now the now the Monsters.
41 more days.
Plus the concerts, plus the right. So
there you go.
And with the Dome, the Browns want a facility that can attract those major events where they can say to promoters and whatnot, hey, what if we give you 75% of the parking gate on top of your thing?
Okay.
That's this. That becomes a little bit of a sweetener. So the Browns want to do this because it'll make them money.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not running charities here, but at the same time too, they're also putting themselves on the line financially to facilitate 2/3 of the project.
Got it. The great stuff as always.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for joining us here on the Kenny and JT Show live from Browns